was signed to a 2-year, $27.25 million deal. $9 million guaranteed. So essentially, if he plays bad, it's a 1-year, $9 million deal. That's basically what that boils down to. If he does not recover, if he's not the same DJ Reader, they only really risked $9 million. That's a very smart move for the Lions, in my opinion. Essentially, was the same money if he is DJ Reader for Sheldon Rankins, if you want to look at it that way. We basically just swapped Reader for Rankins. I don't know if that's a great one-for-one trade, right, but with the injury concerns and whatnot that surround DJ Reader, I feel like it was a safe bet to just move on and get cheaper there anyways, because one, he only played like 50% of the snaps on his contract, so he was already very injury prone. Another second major injury to the legs, which is his key. That's the power. That's where his power comes from, is his legs. So I know a lot of people are very upset that DJ Reader left, basically for the same type of money. I don't think the Bengals were in that market for DJ Reader because, one, obviously he left, but two, the injury stuff, the age, the position he plays, and on top of that, you can just get cheaper with Tiar Tart, in my opinion.
So let's stop there.
Okay.
Okay. All well said, spot on. But here's my question, okay? I really like the Rankins sign, okay, for multiple reasons. He not only can do well against a run, he also can get after the quarterback a little bit.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Okay. So, look, I think that's certainly a positive sign. But then I ask myself, okay, let's just put the Rankins thing over here on a shelf for a minute. And now I ask myself, where would I rather spend my money? On a guy who has been blessed with incredible talent and has been just like this in Tart. I mean, this guy was put on waivers last year, okay?
Right.
There's something going on with him. And is he young enough to get it together and play up to his potential again as he did 2 years ago down in Tennessee? Yes, he can. And I hope for his sake that he does. But there are certainly questions. Is he younger than Reader? Yeah. Has he been productive as Reader? Not last year. Year before, their stats were very, very similar. Very similar when he played well, okay? But he's never lived up to his potential. Reader has gone by his potential in his career. He has done everything and then some with all his God-given ability. Top shelf guy, no questions about Reader except for a big one, right? Age, he's only 30, and his quad. So I ask myself, if I'm going to take a chance, and this is where I guess you're going to have to trust that the Bengals clearly know what's going on in terms of Reader's recovery, how he's doing, when will he potentially really be ready to play again. I mean, he's going to be ready training camp. He's going to be ready for the season opener. Is he maybe a third or fourth week of the season guy? They know all those answers. I don't. But boy, if I had to pick, even with the age difference, and it's not some huge difference. Tart's been around the block a time or two now, but it's a 3-year gap. It has to be the injury part of this that kept the Bengals from signing Reader.
Yeah.
Because there are too many other things that he checks the box, right? Before Tart does. Very important things. Maximizing your talent. Leader, right? Relentless, right?
Yep.
Never a guy who's going to be put on waivers. Ever.
No.
Never. So, I'm trusting here that the Bengals know all about the injury situation. Because if he is healthy, it's a mistake not bringing Reader back.
Correct. 100%. I mean, to go into a little bit of the comparison between Tiar Tart and DJ Reader, I mean, I'm not going to say it's night and day, but yeah, just like you said, the leadership there, the actual physical ability on the field, I would even say DJ Reader it does a lot more than what Tiar Tart does.
Yes.
I know they have very similar stats that 1 year, but he's not an every down player either. I mean, he was only playing on first and second down and coming out on third down when they needed some more pass rush.
Yep.
He's not known to be this guy that adds that ability. DJ Reader, although he was a nose tackle, he could get after people on third down too. He was an every down type of guy. You're losing that. So they still really have this potential hole there, even if they sign Tiar Tart, with at least trying to be able to do both things on third down. If it is like 3rd and 5, you know what I mean? You have to make that decision. Well, do we have Rankins and BJ Hill in there, or do we have Rankins and Tiar Tart now?
Right.
Back then in 2021, it was you just throw in DJ Reader and, he's going to at least add some sort of ability. He's so good that you can't not have him in there on third down. Now, Tiar Tart makes you a lot cheaper at that position, which I think is a good thing in the long run. You need to get cheaper there. And by the way,
it's a good thing in the long run if it's money well spent, cheaper money.
Right.
And it's best in the long run if you're going to take that money, which I think there's somewhere, correct me, Casey, you really follow this closely. There's somewhere, depending on a couple of things, and this can always change if guys want to restructure their contract, kind of like who was it just did it the other day, restructured their deal so they could bring in some more players. The big quarterback. Who am I forgetting here? They just redid their deal a couple days ago. And Bosa just redid his, for example, with the Chargers to stay in L.A., right?
Right.
Joey Bosa. So, there are Bengals players that could do that if they wanted to do it. But right now, as we sit here, I think they're still somewhere between $24 and $30 million under the cap.
That's right.
Okay, so what are they going to do with the money?
Exactly. But I'm with you on that, Tom. I'm getting to the point where if they don't get Tiar Tart, I'm starting to worry about what they do with that money, because there's not a lot of places to go spend that type of money. And we'll have that same conversation that you and I have had time and time again about they're not spending the cap, yada, yada. We're not there at that point yet. They did have Tiar Tart and Mehki Becton come in for visits yesterday. Creepily, there was photos out there, Mehki Becton at the precinct with Joey Burrow, and they're out there.
It really is creepy. You bring up a great point. I got to tell you, man. I mean, X is a dark place, man. It really is. I'm being totally serious, and especially these clowns who don't put their name on the stuff. But I mean, saw him at Skyline, saw him at Kroger, are you kidding? And then just randomly sitting in a restaurant, and you want to go start taking pictures of people who are sitting there wanting to eat their dinners? I mean, stuff's out of control, man.
Yeah. But at least we know that they had that dinner with Joseph Lee Burrow. And if anyone's going to convince them to sign deals, it's going to be him. Now, if they don't get deals done with these guys, I'm going to start to hit the panic button a little bit, because there's just not very many guys out there that I feel comfortable with replacing at the nose tackle position or right tackle. And I'm not really comfortable with Mekhi being the starting right tackle going into this year. I view him more as a swing guy. I expect the Bengals to pick a right tackle in the draft, but we can get into that later.
But I think even if they take a really good right tackle in the draft, if they sign Becton, he's going to start the season opener.
I don't know.
He's got a lot of experience. He's been through a lot of injuries. No doubt about that. Moved from left tackle to right tackle because of all the injuries he suffered early in his career. But this cat was the 11th pick in the draft 3 years ago.
He's got some serious physical – he's got some really good physical traits.
Yes.